Hi, it's Mark Langley with the National Public Safety Drone Donation Program. I'm here with Ted Simmons.
Good.
Ted Simmons, Ted's with UAS Sentry. And, remote ID is becoming a big topic within public safety, within the UAS industry. And I ran into Ted, and he was telling me about his technology. So I want you to tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing with remote technology. My remote ID experience is very limited, as most of our viewers probably don't have a lot of experience.
Sure.
So what we're trying to do is better understand how it is that we understand that there's going to be a transmitter on every drone, right, as required by the law. So the next question is how do we read that? And that's where your company comes in. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, exactly.
So tell us what you do.
So we basically, so what we do is we have a little receiver that basically receives remote ID. We have various different levels of receiver. We have one that does visual line of sight. We have another one that does a bit further with an antenna. And then we have a permanent location one with basically is powered over Ethernet.
Okay.
And so essentially remote ID is very simple. It's similar to ATSP, which is, or ADSP, which is basically what the airplanes have. And airplanes have a transponder that sends out information, and there's little stations
Tail
pick them
number,
up or whatever.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
It's the same thing with remote ID.
Okay.
Remote ID does that plus a little extra. It basically sends across the GPS location of the drone.
Okay.
The height, AGL, MSL. It also gives heading, speed, and other things along those lines.
Long, stuff like that.
Yeah, the lat long GPS location.
Okay, got you.
And then it also gives the information of where the pilot was, or where the pilot is.
Okay.
Now there's whether or not companies actually follow through with that is debated.
Okay.
So like
you mean with the controller?
Like telling where the pilot is.
Okay.
Sometimes they just tell where it launched from, and that sometimes updates every so often. Like Drone Tag is terrible at doing that.
Okay.
They keep updating where the thing is at the different places it's wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, essentially that's all the information packets that get sent out. It gets sent out every like a few times a second.
A few times a second. Are you leveraging Wi-Fi or Bluetooth on your technology?
We read both. Actually.
Read both.
Yes.
Okay.
So the transmitters, the ones that you can buy externally, usually those have been Bluetooth.
Okay.
That's what we've been finding.
Bluetooth's got a range limitation, doesn't
it? It does.
Because I'm assuming here, and correct me if I'm wrong, if the controller is getting a data feed from the drone, and the drone is sending back to the controller, which is usually a heads-up iPad or a phone, right? Or an actual controller.
Yeah.
Then it shouldn't be too hard to identify where the controller is from a GPS standpoint. Or is it more complicated than that?
So it's a little bit more complicated since the drone is the one that's sending out where remote ID is.
Yes.
And that's the drone with the internal setup. It basically it when it goes and talks to the controller on DJI ones, it'll go through and tell us where the controller is in relative space because it has a GPS unit in it as well.
Okay.
But then there's other things like the drone tag or any of these Bluetooth or external devices that you add to your drone. And those generally don't know where the controller is because they're not attached.
Because I know that's part of the regulation. The FAA is really looking to not only identify where the drone is and where it shouldn't be, right? Like at concerts and things like that, football games. But they also want to know where the guy is who's flying it. So, because you can't really do anything unless you can catch the person who is not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So, it's really interesting technology. So, could you show us what your device looks like?
Oh, sure. This is the ultra portable.
Okay.
And this one is visual line of sight, so it doesn't really go that far. I mean, it's like 3 football field of length of sensing. But this one's generally made for somebody who's out flying their drone and they want to see situational around them, that kind of thing. Or say a police officer that's in the area and they want to sense if they're close to the person.
So your product would be for the, let's say the venue person or for the police department that wants to know what's going around in a certain area. They would activate this device, and then we would have it broadcast.
Yeah,
That's very, very interesting.
yeah. And so what this one does, we have another version of this that actually has a Wi-Fi antenna on it, and that one can sense about 3 to 5 miles.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's amazing what an antenna does.
Okay. So yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, omnidirectional, right, type of thing. Wow, that's very interesting. So how long has your company been around? Tell us a little bit about your company.
Let's see. We started up a while back, probably back in March or so of last year, and then basically, I've been working with David, who's the owner of the company. And on his website and helping him, test out his technology.
Well, David's done an amazing job. You were showing me this technology at the booth. So we're here with APSA, who is one of our board members, Dan Schwartzbach, and I got a chance to talk to Ted about this technology, and it helped me to better understand how this remote ID system is going to work. Now, you told me that you have a larger unit and then one that's powered over Ethernet.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
So there's a besides this one, there's the one that's a little bit bigger that senses or that has a touch screen on it, so you can actually just use it by itself. And then the power over Ethernet one is meant for like putting up on a pole. Permanently.
Constantly powered, constantly transmitting. So this goes to a cloud. And then you had showed me a QR code on this that you could scan and actually find the map location of where the drone is.
Yeah. So
very cool.
He did a great job at basically you can scan the QR code and basically be able to find where the pilot is in space.
Very interesting.
So
so anybody could scan this with their phone or their tablet, and it would bring them to a Google map as an example. And
exactly.
Oh, that's amazing. So that's really real. And this thing is so light, And what's the power? How long would this last?
3 to 4 hours.
3 to 4 hours.
Yeah.
And the bigger one's probably a little less, right?
The bigger one is still about 3 to 4 hours.
Okay.
The battery's about the same size,
nice.
Same power wise, but and then basically we have the app that you can download for free.
Okay.
Off the site.
All right.
Basically, it links. What I'm doing right now is I'm basically linking between the two with Bluetooth.
Okay.
So I'm seeing live what's happening, what it's seeing.
What it's seeing.
Yeah.
So it's broadcasting the latitude, longitude. It's got the FAA remote ID number for the drone that was assigned as well.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Well, I appreciate the time that you spent explaining this technology.
Oh, sure.
And if you're interested in learning more, contact us. We'll put you in touch with Ted. And this is very interesting. So what's the price point? What are we talking about here?
We're talking around $1,000.
For this device?
For the 3 different devices. They vary by a few $100s each and stuff like that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
About $1,000.
About $1,000.
And that's a one-time investment. Is there any other buy-in down the road?
So it's $1,000, but for the first year it's just $1,000. But after that, then we have a fee for
cloud
storing data.
Okay.
Cloud. Yeah.
All right. Very.
Well, what's great at that is that the cloud service also goes through and does push notifications to your phones.
Okay.
So you can set up however many people want to be notified.
So all your stakeholders
at a certain time.
are involved.
Exactly.
So if you're doing a concert or a game or a football game, or you told me you've got some of these in some major venues, right?
Yes, we're starting to put them in major venues. Right now we're testing it out at the we're going to be testing it at Rockies Field.
Okay, cool.
So Coors Field, Rockies Stadium.
Very cool.
And then we've also done it at like the Minnesota State Fair. They have a week-long fair that goes on.
And they don't want people flying drones over people, right?
Right.
So again, this is about safety. National Public Safety Drone Donation Program is really about educating and keeping public safety, people safe. And a lot of people push back against what the FAA is doing with remote ID, but if you think about it, if you're not doing anything wrong, then there's nothing wrong with remote ID. And like he said, aircraft are always broadcasting through ADSB. And DJI's done a great job, and other companies like Autel have done a great job with showing ADS-B locations of other planes on the screen. So really, this is just another layer of safety for the public for helping to protect people who are not doing anything and shouldn't cause them any harm, right? So,
yeah, exactly. The best use case I can say for this is, if you're out in the field and you need to have something that's portable and kind of, something like a firefighter where they're out in the mountains and they don't necessarily have a cell signal.
Yeah.
This thing on its own, you can go through and you can scan the QR code, you can GPS right off of it, and then you can go through and radio that in to the command center, and then everybody knows.
So that's a perfect use case. I mean, there's been examples where they've been fighting fires, and then people with the hobby drone would put the drone up because they want to see what's going on, and they have to ground the aircraft as a result of this. And this is not only dangerous, it actually inhibits the ability to fight the fire, as an example, right? So crowd control, things like that. And this is just amazing technology. Again, Ted, I appreciate your time.
You bet.
And what you're doing. Please like, subscribe to our channel, share this message with others, and please continue to follow us on the link down there, and we'll have some more content for you. Like, subscribe, and please consider making a donation. One other thing, if you're a department that's looking to purchase drone technology, contact our foundation. We have partners that will donate, will guarantee best possible pricing, and they'll donate up to 10% of the net proceeds back to our foundation so that we can help keep people safe. Many people don't know about 70% of all fire departments are 100% volunteer, so we want to help them get life-saving drone technology. Again, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right.